Greetings, 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 greetings. When you get on here, please share to be a blessing. It is another beautiful Saturday, and we are grateful to be here. We thank God for life. We thank God for the grace that He's bestowed on us. As I share to our other platforms, please do same. You are welcome. You are so much, very much welcome. It is another beautiful Saturday. Thanks for joining. Whoever is on here, please share to be a blessing to others. We appreciate your support so much. You are welcome. How has your week been? How has your week been? Please let me know if you can hear me. Lately, Facebook has been having issues. Please let me know if you can hear me. It is a beautiful Saturday that God has made. It is a beautiful Saturday that He has granted us life, and we are grateful to be alive. Yeah, my brother can be testimony. I see you on here. Please share to be a blessing to others. For me, as I do same on our other platforms, and I see you on here, Miss Laura, as well. Today, we are going to have a conversation with her. Good morning to you too, my sister. Good morning to you. As I share to our other platforms, please be a blessing and do same for us. We soak in the music a little bit, and then we will join. We will start in few. It's 7:02. How has your week been? How has your week been? How has your week been? Mine has been good. I can't complain. His mercies are new every morning. He ushers us up every morning without we even doing nothing. And I kind of see that as a blessing. I kind of see that as great grace that He bestows on us. So mine went well. How about yours? We thank God for your life on here as you join us. But today, our topic is wholeness. You know, wholeness. Wholeness in every aspect of our lives. Wholeness in anything that we do. Wholeness in totality. All right. And I was reading something right before um I salute you too, my brother. I salute you too. I was reading something about it, a little bit about it, and then I saw it says the wholeness framework empowers you to nature yourself and authentically connect with the world around you by cultivating the emotional resilience necessary to navigate uncertainty. Right? We find ourselves in so many issues, we find ourselves in so many situations that we feel broken. We feel like we don't have much. We feel like we don't know where to go, how to uh, uh, um, do things. But today, as I see, let me see if my guest is on here. She's still on here. Yes, she is. As we will be bringing our sister on. Miss Laura, is I don't see you. I don't see your camera. So if you can head out and head back in so I can see, bring your camera, or you can send me an invite so I can accept you on here. So our wholeness, you know, reaches way far more than what we think. All right. So as we soak in the music a little bit, and as we try to get our guest on today, and as I share to our other platforms, I want us to think about that topic. I want us to think on that line, as to how, what, when somebody talk of wholeness. All right. What exactly comes to mind? Because as I always say on this platform, it is an open discussion. I can do it all by myself. So we all are going to, but what comes to mind when somebody talk or tells you that, hey, I am whole. Hey, I was broken, but I was broken, but now I am whole. I was broken, but now I can see things from the other angle. What comes to mind? All right, as I share here to a few contacts here, but what comes to mind? What really do you what is the thought that comes to mind? Because I wrote here, I said wholeness, the state of forming a complete harmonious whole. A state of forming a complete harmonious whole. Miss Laura, let me see if I can invite you. Or let me copy the link back to you again and see. So what comes to mind? The space in which one needs to become whole, you know. Yeah, Miss Laura, I don't know if you are using your phone or your laptop. So if it's laptop, it will not give you the bring on video. So I think you might have to switch to your iPad or your phone if you are listening to me on that. Because there we go, there we go. Yeah, Facebook doesn't allow. I know they should be able to allow us to on computer with. So I have no idea why. So as I was saying, the state of forming a complete harmonious whole, the state of
There we are.
hi, hi,
Good
hi,
morning. I'm
hi. Good
sorry.
morning. No, that's okay. Facebook doesn't allow what do you call it? People to join live with laptop, which is weird for some reason. It's either iPad or phone, which is totally weird. But
Yes.
thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I'm so excited today. All right, I'm so happy. Viewers, if you on here, please share to be a blessing to others. I have on here Miss Laura O'Donnell. So, Miss Laura, I'm not even going to waste time. All right, if you can tell us a little bit about you as I reduce this music a little bit. If you can tell us a little bit about you and what you are into and what all the good stuff about you, we will appreciate it.
I will. I am going to get my phone situated here so I'm not holding it and wiggling it.
Okay.
There we are. That is so much better. All right. Well, good morning,
Good
everybody from
morning.
wherever you are joining us. Hopefully it is a beautiful day, beautiful morning. So I met our dear sister, Amanda. Actually, we are neighbors over here in North Carolina, and we just connected on such a spirit and soul level right when we first met. She is such a beautiful soul, and we found that we have such a common heart for encouragement, healing, wholeness, reaching people, being present with people, you know, I think in their journeys, their hearts, their souls. So she wanted me to come on, and I know we'll have some conversations here this morning, but just sharing a little bit about this topic that's so passionate to my heart, which is just healing. Specifically, you know, working through trauma, healing. You know, none of us get through this life unscathed. We are all going to face pain.
Yes.
We're all going to face suffering. We are all going to face troubles. We are all going to face heartache. And, you know, just how do we navigate through that, and how do we come from that
Mm-hmm.
place of brokenness into places of wholeness and healing.
That's right.
And I think we're just gonna talk about unpacking all of that
We
today.
got a lot.
We
I'm not
do.
even sure we can, unpack everything
No.
today, because that's a broad topic. When I was researching, I'm like, damn, you go here and then you
Yeah.
get twisted here. It's a lot. It is so much
Yeah.
that I believe that people allow their need to, you know, get to hear from, especially somebody who has been in that space, because most times we find ourselves broken, in pain, and don't know how to get ourselves to
Yeah.
that wholeness place,
Yeah, that's right.
you know. So I believe that this is a good way of giving all of us the idea or the tools or the resources or the help,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not the resource, but just the understanding of what can be done, what it all entails, what it's all involved. That is our passion here. And so I
Yeah.
am so thrilled that you um, didn't say no, and and decided to do this one, because I have, oh, viewers, if you don't know, she has an Instagram page which says Broken to Wholeness, and it
Mhm.
has so, I know it just started, but it has so much inspiration on there that you can,
Thank
if
you.
you what do you call it, please follow her on Instagram. I believe she's on Facebook here. Very soon we'll bring that page on Facebook here as well. So
All
look
right.
out, but follow her on social Instagram, Broken to Wholeness. So please go on. When the topic is exciting, I can
Yeah.
go.
Well, I know one thing that Amanda had asked is, first, what made me even want to embark on this journey like this? What made me, really feel this passion to put this out here, to the world? And, I think a lot of it, if I look down, I have some notes here because I wanted to make sure I hit some certain points and didn't forget them. But, I said, I don't think there's any real, reason to discuss even this idea of wholeness if we don't first understand brokenness.
Mhm.
And, everything that, we talk about, there's so many wonderful therapists, there's so much wonderful mental health support, but what I found in my journey is wonderful as all those are. I've been to therapy, I've been through multiples, I've had so many people supporting me on my healing journey. But really the greatest healer has been, our Lord Jesus Christ, and what he has done for us.
Mhm.
I have always looked back and said there is nothing. It says in the Bible that there is he is acquainted with every suffering. He
Mhm.
is acquainted
Mhm.
with every grief. He is acquainted with everything that we could walk through. And when we look at the scope of everything we've suffered, I think he came, and there is nobody who suffered more than him.
Mhm.
None of us have ever been in that position of saying we are perfect. We have done no wrong, and we are going to abase ourselves to come underneath those who have
Mhm.
wounded us, those who have betrayed us, those who have turned our backs on us, and go to the lengths of suffering and dying for them. And then even the people he walked the closest with betraying him, so we can look at our own lives and look at, things that have, affected us, hurt us, betrayed us, people who've wronged us. And I always go, nothing anyone's done to me has ever trumped what we did to Jesus. And, I always look at that and go, he is that ultimate source and that ultimate point of healing for us.
Mhm.
Um, and he broke, I said, he came and he broke his body and he broke his heart, his very heart, so that our heart could become whole.
That's
And,
right.
so everything I talk about, is wonderful. Is there's a lot of things that we can do to support healing. He ultimately is the source of where that wholeness journey
That's
is going
very
to come
important.
from
We need
all
to
the time.
get that out there,
Yes.
so we can have that picture,
Yeah.
you know, to be seen, because People think that once they're going through something, that's the end of the road. He doesn't care.
Mhm.
He wasn't there. He hasn't been there for me. So I'm glad you started with that, because as much as we don't go well into that, I always say that where the spirit leads is where we go. So
Yeah.
it is of importance for us to understand that whatever we go through, he knows it, you
Mhm.
know. And I always also say that he doesn't give us anything that we cannot handle.
Mm.
Yes, he might say that I'm not going to reach out now,
Yeah.
because I know that the stage that you're in, you are able to handle it. And
Yeah.
I will only step in when I realize that you're drowning.
Mhm.
And that is the part we forget. That
Yeah.
is the part we tend not to look at. Please go on.
Yeah. And you are so right about that. And I'm actually going to extend that thought, Amanda, a little further. You know, we often say, and you said, it's at the point where we realize we're drowning. Because honestly, we as human beings, we want to be so self-sufficient. We develop all of our own, coping mechanisms, our
Mm-hmm.
own
Mm-hmm.
sources of controlling things where we have felt out of control. Really, I'm going to make a note of this. Control is a point that we come to. I mean, it goes all the way back to the beginning, in the garden, Adam and Eve, when they were first, the first pain, the first heartbreak, that first trauma occurred, where their eyes were open and they felt shame, they felt fear for the first time. And they immediately tried to start controlling the situation. They're like, we're going to hide, we're gonna cover ourselves, and we're immediately gonna come in and start putting our hands on this and controlling it. And that's as old as human nature. And when we feel unsafe, and I put here, control is the place where you have been wounded
Mm.
by someone who you trusted. And the lie comes in that in order for me not to be hurt, to be safe, I have to now control my circumstances,
Mm.
because that trust in that person has been broken. Someone who was supposed to protect you. This could be, this could be a
Mm-hmm.
parent. This could be a spouse. This
Mm-hmm.
could even be a child. This could be a grandparent. And it could even be circumstances outside of people's control.
True.
Things, I just, my heart's just breaking, for these people in Syria and Turkey, these refugees who have already been through so much trauma, displaced from their homes, and they've been displaced again. So sometimes it's not even a person. But a lot of times, and we're gonna suck in and start trying to put all this control. And I want to go back to what you said, God doesn't give us more than we can handle. And he brings us to that point where, like, we're drowning. And I actually heard something, and it really shifted my thinking. God's like, I'm never going to give you more than I can handle, because there are going to be times where you're like, this is beyond my ability.
Mm-hmm.
I can't handle this brokenness. I can't handle this pain. I have no ability to control this circumstance or even know how to cope with this circumstance. And it is too much for me. And that's the point where people either completely break, have a
Mm-hmm.
mental breakdown,
Yep.
physical breakdown, psychological breakdown, or that's the point where God's going, it might be too much for you, but you will never experience anything too much for me
That's
to
right.
handle. And if we can't come to that point of letting go and saying, I'm not in control and I can't control, but God, I will put you in
That
control.
is
I
it.
will
That is it.
you.
Being in being in control. Being in control. Most of us tend to have faith when we are not in control. When
Mm-hmm.
things are not going our way, when things are shattering right in front of us. But let's switch gears a little bit. So I was
Yeah.
going through your page and you wrote something. You said, when something gets shattered, you rather gather and mend it rather than discarding it. Sorry. You are worth more mending. You are worth more valuable than you ever know. So
Yeah.
in this statement, can we say that there is freedom in breaking?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Can we say there is freedom in breaking? Because when you break, you tend to see the cracks. You tend to see the little lights that keeps coming in. You tend to remold and readjust the things that they were fixed. You know, you tend to get creative in so many things. So when I saw this, I was like, this is really something. We don't understand, we don't see it enough that, hey, yet though I am broken now, but there is freedom in it.
Yeah.
Yet though I am
Yeah.
down now, but there is freedom in it. I said there is freedom in breaking because the cracks make room for creativity, which is not to say the pain is minimized or justifying the tragedy, but to give you the ability to see what can be
Yeah. Yeah.
than what you currently have. I
Yeah.
don't know what your
No.
thought is on that, but it throughout that thing, it kept ringing. There is freedom in breaking, and I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know your thoughts on being free from breaking
Yeah.
is.
Phew. So I have, gosh, I have walked through both sides of that picture of,
That is where we want. That is what we want.
yeah.
You know, personal experiences, because that is how we would know that people will
Yes.
know that it is doable.
Yes. Yes. I have been on, and I'll share a little, I'll unpack a little more of my story probably as we walk through, but um, I have been on that side of being so broken, but you just put on the mask. You know, it's like I can't let anybody know. There's so much. Again, it's like there's so much shame. We have to hide this. We have to hide our brokenness. We have to, chin up, shoulder up. Everything's okay on the surface. The house looks okay. We're still showing up, doing life. Everything's okay, but we're broken. We are so broken, and we're so afraid to let people know. And I know. So I have come from a long, long, long history of trauma and abuse. When I start to share my story with people, a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I would have no idea that this is things that you've walked through. And not that, I'm a victim, not that I want to shine a spotlight on me. It's not self-pity, but to know that, these things stack up upon each other. And, as a child, I went through years of, sexual abuse as a child. Children can't cope with that. Again, your mind goes into this hiding space. It's going to box it up. It's going to compartmentalize.
You
And
build that wall.
oh yeah, and went through, unwilling of myself, not a conscious effort to dissociate from everything that was happening, dissociate to the point where you forgot that it happened. But the thing about trauma, when trauma happens, it soaks in. Your soul knows, your body stores it, and it all comes out sideways. And so no one understood, walking through childhood, why was I dealing with depression? Why was I dealing with suicidal thoughts? Why did I have so much self-hatred? Just all of that gets turned in on yourself, and that led to more trauma, because now I'm struggling with self-worth issues. Now I'm struggling with depression, struggling with again, suicidal ideas. And this is, by the age of 12. A 12-year-old should be enjoying life,
Yeah.
not thinking about these things. It led to some dysfunction in relationships, and those dysfunction and that incredible lack of self-worth really then causes other decisions. And what I have learned through my journey is when trauma happens and it does not get processed
Mm.
properly. It does not get addressed. And this is what we're talking about. Like, you've got to be able to open those broken pieces, because when we try to put a shield over those
Yep.
broken pieces, it's going to cause more damage in our lives. You know, because I had the self-loathing, because I had the self-hatred, you know, I found myself in an abusive dating relationship at 17 and did not see the signs, did not realize I'm worth more than this. I don't
Mm.
deserve to be treated that way. I felt like I did. How can you accept
Because
someone
your
else?
body,
Yeah,
I feel like your body has become used to,
yeah,
you know, since you were little, that you didn't know how to, whether this was even right or wrong.
correct.
You become accustomed to it. You become used to it. So yes, it would take a lot for
Yeah,
you to see the difference,
yeah,
to break free.
yeah. And this is, you know, I hate what the enemy does. You know, I love how you know, in the Bible they talk about Satan. They said he is the enemy of our soul.
Right.
Enemy of our soul, you know, in that place of our emotions, our thoughts, and he comes in, and he's so cruel, and that he'll take pain, he'll take a trauma, he'll take something awful that's happened, and then he just begins to twist it.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does at that point of trauma is he begins to dysregulate love. He'll
Mm.
take all of that and go, if that person loved you, oh, they can't love you. Or he'll twist and be like, that's what love looks like. Love looks like abuse. Love looks like no boundaries. Love looks like someone just, you know, using you for their own, you know, means,
On
their
game.
own gain. And then he twists love against God. You know, because how many people, and I've talked to so many people who are like, if he was a loving God, how could a loving God let this happen? How could a loving God let the suffering happen? How could a loving God let, you know, children be abused? You know, how could he say he loves us and let all this pain and suffering?
Mm.
And he starts to twist that lie, and he dysregulates our self-love. It's not right that, you know, children who've experienced, you know, whether it be physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, that they begin to turn it on themselves, go, there must be something wrong with me. They begin to hate themselves, hate their own bodies. And
Yep.
a child should be living in delight. And it's like, it is what the enemy does when there is pain and suffering. You know, and not even as children, you know, he'll do this as adults too. You know, when again, we have that moment, we go, how could you let this happen, God? You know, we turn around and we blame God for it. And the enemy's like, that's what I want to do, because I want you to start doubting his love. I want you to
Mm.
start doubting his goodness. I want
Mm.
you to start doubting that he was even there. Um, and I'll come back to that thought, because I want to touch on that. But you know, we're talking about brokenness. We were talking about that, and how, you know, all these things that happen that put that shield up. You know, this brokenness stayed hidden inside of me. You know, no fault to my parents. Nobody knew. I didn't, you know, even really remember. You know, it was just something that was hidden, but it all started to come out. And, you know, I landed myself then into, you know, more trauma. And that's just it. You know, trauma, when it's not been healed, pain, brokenness, when it has not been healed, is just going to lead to further brokenness.
True.
And we'll either just keep coping and covering it, or at some point we're just going to shatter so big, you know, that everyone's going to know. You know, so I walked, I walked through, you know, a teenage pregnancy. Um, you know, I have my beautiful son from that. He was a blessing, you know, that came from that. But you know, and I walked in through 20 years of this abusive marriage. And when you're 18 and you're going through your 20s and you're learning about the world, and you start to learn about the world through under this lens of suffering, under this lens of lies, again, you're beginning to learn that there's things wrong, there's things that are painful, but I'm just going to keep covering all of these things up.
Let me
Um,
acknowledge
yeah,
our viewers a little bit. Viewers, if you are joining us here, it's a Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, and today we're talking about wholeness. All right, wholeness in every aspect of our lives, wholeness in anything that we're dealing with. Right. So, Miss Laura, let me ask you something.
yes.
I wrote here. I said, look closer. that ashes, if worked with, can give birth to a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So ask what pile of rubble in my life that
Mm.
needs revisiting, right? That needs relooked at. Let me
Mm-hmm.
start from there so that I can have my new wholeness, right? Why am I bringing this? We talked of there is freedom in the brokenness,
Yeah.
right? I'm going through stuff. Let's divert and bring it to our personal
Yeah.
lives a bit. I'm
Yeah.
going through stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, I've tried to work on. I've tried to see from every angle what I can do. Is it okay for me to look a little closer? Is it okay for me to
Mm-hmm.
stay where I am? Or it's okay for me to move back and say
Yeah.
that, hey, I have done everything that I can. I cannot go on anymore. Let me throw in the towel. Because I always have a saying that giving up is not an option. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We got to do whatever we need to do in order to get to where we have to get to.
Yeah.
Right. But in the brokenness, that is where we find peace.
Mm-hmm.
In the brokenness, that is where things start to fall in place, things start to make sense to us. So then the question that I ask myself is, are there paths in wholeness? Are there different phases in wholeness? Because in research, and I realized that there are frameworks, about 9 frameworks when it comes to wholeness, right?
Mm.
That talks about the self-awareness, the relating spirit, mind,
Yeah.
body, and soul.
Yeah.
So let's take the body for instance.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
go through, the body goes through a lot. The body goes through all these phases. Yes, the mind is there. Yes, the spirit is there. But the mind goes through all these phases
Yeah.
in order to tell the mind that it's okay. It's going to be all right. Things will fall in place. But I've realized that when people don't have that ability, when everything is being thrown at them,
Mm-hmm.
when things are not going the way they pictured it to be, they tend to crawl back into their shell.
Mm-hmm.
So for such a person, how would, and with your experience, how or what will you tell that
Yeah.
person to start to see that, hey, the body can do more than you think, the mind can do more than you think? When you talk of wholeness, it comes, all of these things come together.
Yeah. And just like, again, that thing of stop hiding it. It is, I want to just tell people it's okay to not be okay.
Okay.
And I think coming to that point is the first point of healing, to say, reaching out, is saying, I'm not okay. I'm doing, like you said, I'm doing everything I know to do, but things, I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned, like, we see these things where everything's coming at paper, like everything in my life is falling apart. And a crucial thing that I've realized in wholeness is we cannot separate ourselves. We cannot put, I'm going through, maybe some sickness or some, bad health in my body. My body is not doing well, and not look at our soul. Because the reality is our body, it keeps score of the things that are going on. And a lot of times our bodies are
Wow.
manifesting something
Mm.
that is broken in our soul. And so, like you said, we have got to sometimes pause and go, my mind, the thoughts that are going through my mind are affecting my perspectives and the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Yep.
And the Bible says, power of life and death lie in this tongue. It's what comes, Christ said, it's what comes out of a man that defiles him. And so when we're walking through these hard things and we just begin to declare victim, we begin to declare anger, we begin to declare depression, all we're doing is we're increasing this. And that's the point where he said we pause. We let these broken pieces
Mm-hmm.
fall. And one of the things I'm trying to do is create this community where there can be authentic healing, authentic brokenness, to say,
Mm.
we, not one of us, have not walked through pain. We can learn from one another. We can support one another. And, you know, you were talking about, you know, I'm doing everything that I can. Why is it okay to break? You know, because we think our whole world's going to fall apart. But, you know, it's, I found in the complete falling apart, when everything was shattered on the floor, all the past stories, all the past traumas, all the layers and layers of things, when it shatters to the floor and you go, I'm not okay. And all I have is right now myself, these broken pieces, and God's staring at me on the other
Very true.
side of that,
Very true.
is when
Very
we start that journey to wholeness. You know, because it's as we allow him to mend, but it's this idea that all the pieces are interconnected.
They come
You know,
together.
they do.
They work
Our spirit, where we stand in our spirit relationship, where we are in our soul, where our emotions and our points of healing and trauma, where we are in our mental state, what's going on through our mind traffic. Oh, our minds are busy, busy, busy places, and we don't guard what's flowing in and flowing out of it as well as we should. You know, and our bodies are manifesting all of this that's going on.
Yes.
And then it's going out into our lives, because our relationships now, we're not, you know, walking in healthy relationships with one another. That's adding more stress.
That's it.
And yeah, and our money's probably out of control, because we're not working at our optimal best person at that
True.
point. You know,
True.
we are not able to be our best selves. And so, you know, our work life balance is out of whack. You know, our money's out of whack, and we're developing coping mechanisms now. Maybe we're overeating, maybe we're overspending, you know, because we're trying to fix all these things around us, and we're not fixing
You
what's
hit it.
within
You
us.
hit in all the point. You hit in all the areas. Viewers, if you have questions, please put in the comment section and let us have the conversation. This is a very important topic that we don't talk about it much. All right. So my next question is, I wrote here, I said, working with the remains to make something beautiful, right? We tend to throw away whatever was broken.
Yeah.
Be it our life, be it our physical things, we tend to throw it away. But in working with those, in working with those brokenness, in working with those shattered things, in working with the things that you think that, oh, this is broken, I need to discard it. It makes them whole again. It makes them recognizable again. And that is what we're now looking at. That is what most people don't see.
Yeah.
I am broken. I am down. Let me throw everything out. Let me put everything out there and start afresh. And so they realize that it takes them longer to get into that wholeness place. It takes them much time in getting to where they need to be.
Yeah.
How do people start picking those pieces and start to mend them together?
Yeah.
Because as we said earlier on, there is freedom in breaking.
Yes.
But then in those freedom, that is where light shines in.
Yeah.
That is where you realize that, hey, if I put this piece that was here, there, I will be able to make something better.
Yeah.
I will be able to make something new. So how do somebody in that, because I know many, you know, people are suffering and
Yeah.
they cannot, or they don't know how to pick these pieces up and remold them.
Yeah.
How does a person going through stuff, how does a person who's been shattered to the ground, you know, start picking up the pieces that he or she thinks that he needs to remold?
Yeah. So that is, to talk about that question for days.
Yeah.
You know, when, as I've walked through, you know, that season, the revelations that have come look like this. You know, I love how you talked about, there was that imagery of the light shining through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
That is so beautiful. And just, going, all I have right now is these broken pieces. I go back and say, who created you?
Mm.
Who knows you in the idea of you being whole and
Mm.
healed? And
Mm.
that's no one but God. You know, I
Mm.
he gave me this revelation of this idea of the starting point. So to break this down, the very, very first starting point is, don't start trying to put all these pieces together in the way
Mm.
you think they should fit back together. They broke the first time because they weren't together the right way.
Please say that again.
Yes. They
Ooh! Like
they broke.
hits different.
Yeah,
It just hit different because yes, we think about it, but we don't think about it.
I
Please
will.
repeat. Please say that again.
They broke because they weren't put together the right way in the first place. And our starting point is to go all the way back
Mm.
to the one who conceived us. Now I'll talk about that word for a minute. Yes, our physical mother and father, they came together. Our flesh was, but God says, I knew you. I thought of you before the foundations
Mm.
of the
Mm.
earth,
Mm.
meaning
Mm.
we were already conceived as a
He
thought in
already
his
knew what we were
mind
going to do. He already know what would happen.
way back, all the way back. And he says, I created you in perfection. I created you in that wholeness. I created everything that you needed to be. But we come into a broken world,
Mm.
and we get broken in the process. And that speaks to that place of identity. And so the very first place is when everything is in pieces. It basically is the identity that I built for myself
Mm-hmm.
in this world is now broken. And I have to go back to my original
Original
design
self.
in Him, which is whole. And we just start in that place of going, I want to go back to you, God. And that very first place can be the biggest step, because really we're often angry at all these things. We're angry at this person. We're angry at this situation. We're angry at the circumstance. We're angry at all of these things. We're angry at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're so angry at all these things. And, really what we have to do, I lost my thought for a minute there, where all of this anger is being projected out at all of these things. And really, if we get down to the truth, we're angry at God. Somehow we're blaming him in some way, shape, or form. Most everybody I've ever talked to, really, when you get below all these layers, they're like, God let me down. God didn't come through for me. God didn't protect me. And so the first place is sitting at all those broken pieces and going, I have to first believe that you made me. I
Mm-hmm.
have to first believe that you're here. I have to believe, that you do love me. It's like, that's that faith part. Like, I don't see you, but I didn't just show up here. And I have to start at that place. I've got to work this out between me and God. And the best question, that I ever walked through is he's not afraid of our anger. He's not afraid of us asking
He's
hard
not.
questions. He's not looking at us, pointing his finger, going, you messed everything up. You screwed everything up. He's going, I am here waiting for you to ask me to help build it again, to help put these pieces together again, because I will put them back together in the way that's that beauty, that image that we have, like on the social media, just this beautiful image of these pieces that are rejoined by gold, and he's like, I'm going to
Oh,
put this.
that piece is breathtaking. I've told you that times and times again. That piece on broken but whole is whoo, off the roof. Viewers, as I said, check her out on Instagram. Broken but whole. Check her out and let us know what questions you might have, let me see what we have on here. If we have any questions, let's see. Oh, God bless you too, our brother, my brother coming testimony. God bless you too. So I have here, I said, broken hearts hurt, right? But they also allow us to connect with other people's pain.
Yes.
When it comes to wholeness, right? And then I said, though it might seem safe to protect your heart, but broken people often tends to be bigger.
Yeah.
Broken people tends to do greater things. Broken people tends to be above everything else because they take that which they had and made it seem like I have nothing. This is what I have, and so I need to work with it. And it goes back down to we going back to the foundation of when everything was put together but not put together right.
Yeah.
And so when these lights shines in, or when these pieces break, and some, because not everything that falls down will be picked up in that same hole.
Correct. Yeah.
Some pieces will be chipped out.
Yeah.
Some will be shattered completely to the ground. But it is what you do with what you have. It is what you do with the leftovers. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm saying this to take us to the other point of how do we start the journey of becoming whole?
Yep.
How do we start the journey of becoming whole? And I wrote here, I said, name your names. And somebody asked me, what do you mean, Amanda, by naming your names? Name your names with all those experiences that you've been through, with all those experiences that you've had. Name those names, accept those names that, hey, this were my trouble, this were my issues, and I accept it. Now it's time for me to do what I have to do. Name those names.
Yeah.
We don't seem to name those names enough. We don't seem to even think that, oh, we can sit and do that.
Yeah. Yeah. You are so right. And I think that right there, it was a turning point in my life when it's not to define us. You know, I am not broken, but my life right now is broken. My heart is broken. My soul is broken, you know, but I am destined. I mean, you know, God said, I have good plans for you. I have destinies of restoration over you. Read through. How often does he talk about restoring your soul, restoring your soul, restoring your soul? So again, that first point starts with him. It starts with our spirit, getting our spirit in line, you know, with him, with our creator, the one who breathed all this life into us. Got to get that spirit in line. That's our starting point. And then it's, again, we talked about control, opening up your hands and saying, take all these shattered pieces. We're going to walk together. You know, we don't just sit back and he's like, here, I'll do it all for you. He's like, we're going to walk together towards wholeness. So it's first, you know, come back to that place. You know, one of my sayings with our community here as we're growing is, I don't have the answers. I'm still on my journey, but we're all here to help walk each other home to the Father's heart. That's what we're here to do for each other, walk each other home, because it's at the place of the Father's heart where we lay these broken pieces at his feet. We're willing to let go of all the control, and that, Amanda, you know, we're willing to say, this is all of its ugliness. I am dealing with you know, post-traumatic stress. I'm dealing, you know, with depression. I'm dealing with anxiety. I'm dealing with anger. I'm walking through divorce. I've been through abuse. I've, you know, all of the horrific things that can happen to us as human beings, to look at it and go, this is my ugliness. This is my woundedness. And I'm willing to, like you said, say that. It's not to identify us, you know, it's I am going to heal through this. This thing has broken me, but I will be whole. I will be a restored soul. So, you know, we come to God, we open those things up, we let go of all that control, stop hiding it. Like I said before, the more we hide all these broken pieces, it comes out sideways in all these other areas of our life and just like shatters pieces even more. So at some point we say, enough
Yep.
brokenness. I need to heal. And I'm gonna just open myself, expose myself. And it's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to be authentic. But there are
It is
people
hard.
to say, I've been there. I know your pain. You don't have to hide it from me. Because like you said, the people who've walked through brokenness can look you and go, I know. I've been there. I know.
And
I
you know, it is
know.
only when you open up, that's where
Yeah.
you get all that you need, all
Yeah.
the tools that you need.
Yeah.
Because when you bottle it in, when you keep it to yourself, you are on your own.
Yes.
It's when you
Yeah.
open it up. Viewers, if you are here with us today, it's a dose of encouragement incorporated, and we're talking about wholeness. All right. Sometimes we got to look a little closer to those ashes that we so we can work with. Look closer to those ashes if what can be done on it. If we can put in a little more. I said, so look, I said, look at what pile of rubble in your life
Mm-hmm.
need revisiting. All right. Let's
Mm-hmm.
start from there so new wholeness can emerge. You
Yeah.
need to look at the power that you have in your life. You need to look at the things that you've how do I put aside because you think it's broken. The problems that you put aside because you think nothing can be done about it. The issues that you're going through that you think that nobody is looking at you, nobody is listening to you, or nobody is there to help. That is where we find the strength. That is where you find your inner ability to able to move on. I always say that you can never uh, uh, um, help anybody from an empty vessel. All right,
So
you need
good.
to be
Yeah.
filled up. You need to be refilled up. You need to be full in order to give somebody that help that they need. So if you are broken and you haven't worked on yourself to get to that wholeness place, how then do you give out? How then do you support the next person
Mm.
who needs your help?
Yeah.
You know, most of
Yeah.
the things that we talk about intertwines. Most
Yeah.
topics like go hand in hand. That sometimes it needs you taking a minute for
Mm-hmm.
yourself and say
Mm-hmm.
that let me look inner deep into myself to see what is broken.
Yeah.
Because as you said, you are walking about nicely. People
Mm-hmm.
think that everything is perfect
Yeah.
until they come in,
Mm-hmm.
until you let them in,
Yeah.
until they see what exactly you're dealing with. They wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
know that you've been through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, as much as we are going to name our names, what
Mm-hmm.
else can we do
Mm-hmm.
in starting this
Yeah.
journey to our wholeness?
Yeah. To me, it goes back to one word, which is finding community. You know, we were not designed to live in isolation. We were
Mm,
not designed to live alone. We are very natures crave relationship and community, and I think that's often the first place is you know where, and it's hard. You have to make sure you can find the right people, because a lot of people, they don't know how to sit with the broken.
it looked like you were in my
They
notes.
don't.
It seemed like you were in my notes when I was reading, because I wrote here, I said, the wholeness of others. You have to look at the wholeness of others. That is where community come in. Explore the experiences of
Yeah.
somebody's wholeness. Learn from them.
Yeah.
Because it is only through that you can know things that you don't know on how they were able to put those pieces back
Yeah.
together. So it seemed like you and I were
Yeah.
doing.
Well, it's you know, and again, it's finding the right community, because you know I found there are people who who are going to actually add more hurt if it's not the right person, to say, where is that place where I can be, I can be open, I can be vulnerable. And I believe, if God's going to put the right people alongside of you, if you ask, and we did, but we asked. And I'll say this though, there are times, and I walked through a season of this where I felt like there was nobody, because I want to address that, because there might be people who hear this and go, well, that's great, I don't have anyone. And there was a season of time where God honestly almost stripped me from having anyone to lean on, and it was that much more painful, because I felt like I don't have any community. There is nobody who's supporting me, and I don't want to say I had nobody. I think if we really look hard, my mother and father have always been there. I have, my brother or sister, my husband, it's like there have been, but there was like, I didn't feel like there was a large community to lean on. And some people may be walking through, maybe they've lost their parents, maybe they're walking through a divorce and really feel like there is nobody. And I want to encourage you in that there was a season where truly felt like I was alone in this brokenness. And I don't know if this, this might resonate, there was literally a time I was on the ground, sobbing, weeping, going, Lord, I feel like I have been abandoned to the ashes alone. And I don't know if somebody, might hear this and just maybe that hits you, to say, I feel like that. I am forgotten. I am forsaken. I am in the ashes, and there is no one coming to my rescue. And I want to look back and say, those were the moments where my relationship with Jesus, the Holy Spirit, became ever deeper, because that was the moments where I said, there is no one but you, God. And that's the cry of David's heart. If you're in that place, I encourage you, open up Psalms, read those Psalms. I have wept those Psalms, going, this is the cry of my own heart. God, I am forsaken. I am alone, my soul. And it's not a new feeling. You're not alone in feeling that way. This is as old as humanity. And really, it goes back to what I said at the very beginning, that first place, that heart cry is that relationship back with our Creator. He is a perfect love. And all of that stuff really boils down to fear in some way, shame, hiding, deception, coping, anger, withdrawal, aggression. All of these different ways that we as human beings want to respond to brokenness in our life all come down to one root, which is fear. And didn't he say in the Bible, he said, what casts out fear? We say love and hate are opposites, but they're not. Love and hate run.
They go hand in hand.
They do. They run in the same passion. What the opposite of love is fear. Fear is what eats away at love. Fear is what motivates all of these different human behaviors. Fear is what motivates people to harm and abuse others. And fear is what allows us to accept abuse. It's all layered into fear. And he said, perfect love casts out fear. But that means that's not love that you're going to find with a human being, because we're messy and we're not perfect love. We all have our own, levels of struggle and brokenness. So it goes back to that, where is the one source of perfect love? And that's in him. And so when you're in these seasons where, you might feel like, I don't have community, I do feel alone, there is always a source of perfect love that will begin to cast out that fear that you must, turn to. And in due time, he brought people into my life. In due time, he began to bring support around me. But I realized if those people had been there too soon, I would have leaned on them and not leaned on the Lord. And I needed to learn to lean on the Lord first, because out of now this relationship, out of this love in my heart and my wholeness with him, wholeness begins to grow in all the other areas of my life, you know. So
wow, it looks like time runs so quick, and we haven't even gotten to half of what
no.
this topic is about. Viewers, if you are here joining us now, it's a Dose of Encouragement Incorporated, and we're talking about wholeness, 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 wholeness. So I can't say that word enough. I can, you know, I can say that enough. But we're talking about wholeness. I think we might have to bring Miss Laura back, you know, so we can continue with this topic. As I try my best not to keep you guys above the 1 hour time that we pretty much want or do. But viewers, if you are on here and you're watching us and you are in that state where you feel broken, you are in that state. Remember that wholeness is not being made whole. It is you being reorganized and not being restored. You got to look at it that way. It is you being reorganized, not restored. There are certain things that you went through that you will not get back when that pieces are put back together. So it is not you being restored to your original state. It is you being reorganized so that you can move on, so that you can push on, so that you can go forth. Look at those ashes for a minute.
Yeah.
Revisit those ashes for a minute. Revisit those shattered walls for a minute and learn what you can do. Learn how you can move from where you are to the next place. Learn how things can start to turn around without you thinking that I have to be put together the same way that I was.
Yeah. That.
That I have to be put together where I was like yesterday. It is you being reorganized to be able to move on to the next stage.
Yeah.
Our
So good.
wholeness can never be complete until we start to look at those ashes that we have. Our wholeness can never even start until we tend to sit back and look through with a lens. Look through our own lives with a lens. I say that wholeness is a person that his or her physical, emotional, and social and spiritual health matters to him. So everything falls in that bowl. Everything goes in that bowl. It is up to you to decide what comes first. It is up to you to decide what and where you're going to put that part. Learn not to discard what you've lost. Learn not to discard what is broken, but learn to re-put them together.
Yeah.
Let's continue this conversation on here and on our other platforms. As I said, we might have to revisit this topic again sometime in the future, maybe next week or the following week. But we might have to revisit it because we didn't even touch the framework of wholeness at all. We didn't even
so big.
we didn't even touch it at all. You know, we didn't even go in depth on that because there we'll know in that brokenness there is self-awareness. In that brokenness there is something that you call learning to relate, learning to find new things, learning your internal self-worth. We didn't even touch that part.
It could take a year.
It can.
Yeah.
But this is the starting point.
Yeah.
This is the phase where things turn to make sense to us, where things turn to give us perspective of what we need to look at, where we need to look at, what we need to do in order to get on our wholeness journey. Ms. Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
You gave so much personal examples, and I think that is what if somebody is watching us today, that is what they would take, that, hey, if somebody has been able to go through it and come to this phase of being on the journey of becoming whole, then
Yes.
I can do it. So thank you all so much. Viewers, if you are watching us, do follow us on here. Do follow Miss Laura on Instagram, Broken to Wholeness, right? That's it, right?
Yeah, broken to whole. We can I'll post
Broken
it in
to
the
Whole, yes.
comments. I'll post it in the comments
Broken
on this
to
video.
Whole on Instagram, so you can see the her journey, and you can learn from there. You can see the beautiful work that she's doing. That, yes, don't take the fact that it just started and say that, oh, she doesn't have followers, or she doesn't have much content on there. The little that she put on there, as I said, it is her personal journey that God has put on her heart to put forth to the world, to for people to learn from. So if you are going through issues, if you are going through struggles, where you're struggling to find where you can start to heal, where you can, because if not to put your business out of it, she's been through, aside the abuse, that is just one part of it that she even mentioned. She's been through battling with cancer and all that. So she has the path, she has every resources that we need, so follow her on there, and your life will never be the same. If you haven't followed us on our website yet, please do www.adoe.org. Follow us, join the community. As I said, that community, we want it to be a home away from home, where people don't get judged, where people can come and get resources, where people can come and feel at home without them being judged, without them being looked upon. We are going to have professionals on there that will answer your questions, give you advice when need, and all that. When you go on there, click on the join, but look around. And then once you're done looking around, click on the join button. It would have, if you want to be a volunteer, if you want to just have encouraging words sent to you, if you want to be a member, a partner, an encourager, a contributor to this beautiful, beautiful journey that we have, and then please do and put your information on there, and we will reach out to you to tell you or to let you know what you can do to help this journey. Also, our social impact project will be coming on this year once again, and we will put more information out here. That thing, when Ms. Laura, if I start talking about it, I tend to be happy because we put smiles. We try to put smiles on people that are in need faces. Viewers, join us this year. This year, as I said, we are opening it to the public. Anybody can support. Anybody can join. You can support with your time, your gift, whatever. But join us as we gather stuff to take to Africa, Ghana specifically for now. We tend to take it to other places, but Ghana, to help orphanages, to help widows, to help people that are in need. The little things that we do for people is what keeps this organization going. So join us. Look out on here for more information, but we would have more information on our platform or our website as well. Go there and join us until we come your way again next week. I am your host, Amanda Akufia, and our guest, Miss Laura. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation, in joining us to share your journey with myself and our audience. We appreciate you so much, and we say that may God bless you. May He increase you. May He continue to make you whole as you started this journey. We thank you so much. And to my team, ADOE team, George, Anaman, Eben, Janice, Edward, Benedicta, Pearl, thank you. My board of directors, Reverend Abraham Nyamfo, Reverend Dr. Harriet A.J., Mr. and Mrs. Harvey, thank you so much. Without you, this journey would have been tough, but with you, we are going places. And to you, our audience on here, without you, we would not have any ADOE. I say, may God bless you. May God increase you. As you take time every Saturday morning to watch us and to continue taking this program to the next level, may God answer you when you need it. May He come speedily when you need it. I love you. To my husband and my son, wherever you are, thank you so much for the support. even when I don't feel like it. Like, babe, it's time. You gotta get up. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Until I see you again next week. Have a blissful Saturday. Have a fruitful weekend and a fruitful week ahead. I salute you. I sign up. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now.